true friend is one who overlooks your broken fence and admires the flowers in your garden. What does friendship mean to you? Do you prefer the company of many friends or a select few? Try to imagine all the friends you had in your life over the years as stars in the sky. Some are small and distant, some are bright and big. Nonetheless, they all shine and light up the sky. Express that visually. Hello and welcome to Creative Mojo Cards episode 3. It's Dragana from Saacibo. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. I had a short break from Creative Mojo Cards, been busy with other projects, but I think I'm finally ready to continue the work. I designed Creative Mojo Cards to help myself and others who go through periods of low motivation. And that's the main purpose of these cards. Do little exercises. They don't have to be anything elaborate or complicated, just something that will help you break the pattern of procrastination and stop you from worrying, what if I do something wrong? Maybe I shouldn't even start, and you're meant to free yourself to just enjoy the process and not worry about the final result. Having said that, I actually fell into that trap after I pulled this card. And in the last episode, I pulled the Joker card, so I was supposed to pick one for myself, and I picked this one. And I'm thinking, why did I pick that card if I'm not inspired to do that? But this is exactly what it is. You're not meant to be inspired to do any of this. You're just meant to do it. So after thinking about what am I going to do and how I'm going to do this, I thought it's been 2 weeks, and if I'm thinking too much, I'm doing quite the opposite of what the cards are supposed to do. They're supposed to help me break through that pattern of overthinking and just do stuff. The purpose of these cards is to actually free yourself and enjoy. So I woke up this morning and I thought, it's been 2 weeks since I've done a card, and they're there to help me break through this pattern. And I thought, if I'm going to start overthinking and planning too much, then it defeats the purpose. So I'm just going to do it, and I won't worry about how it's going to turn out. If it's no good, it's no good, but the point of this exercise is to actually do something, whatever. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. Even if it looks like a child's drawing, who cares? As long as I do it, it will help me just break that pattern of overthinking. So I turned the camera on and decided to do the voiceover, because as soon as I start explaining and all of that, I just lose the flow. So I just pulled out some papers, some collage papers that I've done in the last video. And I have a napkin, which is kind of Van Gogh looking, with the night sky and the stars and the moon. I have some collage papers that were sent to me from one of my crafty friends, Steffi. And also I have some wrapping papers that I received gifts from my other friends. And I have a card that I received from an old friend of mine, probably my closest friend. So I thought I'll just do a little collage of all of these things that inspire me. The theme is to do a night sky with lots of stars, and I have that collage paper. I'm going to do something with that. Perhaps we'll see. I started by cutting up these papers into smaller bits and just loosely arranging them on the paper to see what looks good. The idea I had in my head is to lay down the black and white collage papers and the wrapping paper, the brown wrapping paper with stars first, and then to do the napkin over. In the end, I decided not to do my jelly prints with the blue sky and stars, because I thought if I glue that on top, it would cover completely what was underneath. So I decided to just use the napkin. I really like how in some areas collage papers, the black and white collage papers, are coming through from underneath the napkin as if I stamped on top. At this stage it doesn't look like a finished work. I suppose the glue needs to dry first. It still needs a lot of work. And in the meantime I decided to cut some star shapes from that gold wrapping paper that I had. Perhaps that would be a nice like focal images on top. I wanted to do some of these 8-point stars, so I just started by sketching it on a scrap piece of paper. I wasn't really trying to make it look perfectly symmetrical. I wanted it to have that hand-drawn look. I used the marker to trace around the template so that I can cut the star. I tested it on the page. It kind of looked the right size, so I just made a few more. After I cut 2 of those stars, I decided I don't want them to be the same size. I wanted one really big and I wanted a smaller one as well. So I just made 2 more templates. If I had to cut a star for every friend that I had over the years, my whole page would be covered in stars. We all go through stages when we're close to a particular person for a few years, and then, you know, things happen, circumstances change, we move, we change jobs, and sometimes you lose contact. But the funny thing is, I've been thinking about this project for the last 2 weeks, and thinking about how I'm going to represent this and what it meant to me. And I started thinking about people that were my friends, my close friends in the past. And then, life happened. We all went different directions. And I actually heard from a few of them in the last few days. So I'm thinking, when you think about your friends, even though you're not close by, you can't actually go out and have coffee together and chat, I still feel connected to all of them in some way. And even just a quick message is enough to stay in touch. And this piece I'm doing is not about particular person or a friend in my life, because I cherish all of them in different ways. You have your work friends, you have your school friends, you have your crafty friends, you have friends that you just meet through life, and friends of friends that end up being your best friends. And people come and go in your life, and it's all natural, and it's how it's supposed to be, and the friendships should never be forced. And if you go through a stage when you're not actually seeing physically your friends all that often, that doesn't mean you don't have them. They are still there. Hearing someone's voice or getting a message from them is sometimes quite enough. You don't actually have to be physically present to be friends with someone. When I think about it now, the time that I spent making those templates and cutting out those stars, I could have just as easily drawn them on the paper. But at the time, it seemed like the right thing to do. After I finished cutting all the stars, I ended up with 3 medium ones, a large one and a small one. I decided to do some preparation work on that card that I was given. The card was very shiny. It had that laminating finish. I thought sanding it down would get rid of that shine. I was much happier with it once I sanded it down, but it still looked too neat, so I decided to just tear some edges around. And then once I placed the stars down, I realized I have no room for that card. I didn't think of that. It just didn't go anywhere. Once I placed the stars down, I was a lot happier with how it all looked, but it still needed a little bit, to lift it up. It looked a bit dull and flat. I decided to take a break, let it dry, and then come back with some acrylic paint on top. So once the glue was dry, I decided to keep working. It was touch dry, not completely, still a little bit sticky, but I just couldn't wait any longer. I just wanted to keep working. Areas where there's a lot of white, I didn't actually like all that much, and I wanted to blend it all in using some light acrylic wash. That napkin, they seem to have quite a few different shades of blue and yellow and purple, but I only wanted to blend these areas in by adding just one plain color without losing the black marks. So just to tone that white down a little bit. I tested it on a piece of collage paper that I had, because I really wanted to get that blue as similar as was in the napkin, that darker shade of blue that's there. So once I was happy with the color, I just applied it with a soft brush. I did not want the blue to go over the stars, but it was kind of difficult to avoid it. And in the end I thought, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to go over the stars as well, with some highlights and all. When I first started this little collage, I have to say I was a little bit nervous, but now that I've put down the base layer, I'm a little bit more relaxed and I'm happy with how it's turning out. I can visualize how it's going to look in the end. I also toned down a few areas that were yellowish, just to blend it all. And I did that because I wanted the stars that I glued down to be more present. I wanted them to stand out. And then after I've done that, I thought, yeah, the stars are still kind of flat. They need darker area behind them. So I decided to just use the black to try and lift them up off the surface. I used a round brush to just blend it in. I decided to add more darkness on one side, and I used that moon there as a source of light. So that everything that was behind it falls into that shadow. After I've done that first star, I thought, yeah, that's really what I wanted. So I proceeded to do the same on all of them. Once I started outlining the stars with black, I think I started cautiously, but then I progressively got bolder and bolder. I also wanted to mention, so I don't forget, that we have a new artist who joined the collaboration, and I'm so very happy about it. So check it out if you have a chance. I created a collaboration playlist on my channel called creativemojocards collaboration, and I will be putting my own videos there as well as videos of people who use those cards to do videos and create art, so that you can go and check them out as well. I have to say that art journaling in front of the camera is not that easy, because you want to work how it's easy for you, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be good for the video. You know, if I turn things upside down and sideways and I go out of frame, and it might not be good for the video. At this point I was quite happy with how it's all turning out, so I decided to tone down these light blue areas a little bit more with just black. So now it was about time to actually work on the stars themselves, and as I was working I got a lot of black paint over them, and I didn't want to fuss too much, so I thought it's easier to just fix it now, and decided to try first with the gold paint. I thought perhaps if I just dab the paint with the tip of my brush would give it some texture as well. And the areas that I wanted to be lighter, I could just add more paint. I was actually quite happy with that first one. This was a good time to fix those stars in case they were not good, if they were really out of shape or too asymmetrical. I could fix them now. Once I finished the stars, I realized that I need one to be the dominant one, and I thought, by looking at the 5 of them on that double page, I think the one that was closest to the moon should probably be the brightest, so I decided to just add a little bit of white. When I was doing the highlights on the other stars, I kind of mixed white with a bit of that gold so that it's not so bright. And then I decided to use the tip of the brush, the flat side of the brush actually, to create these effects of like a light or sparkles. I was quite happy with how it all looked, but before I do anything else, I thought I'd let it dry and then I would come back to see if there's anything else that I want to do. After it dried, I looked at it and it looked alright, but there was something missing. So I tried placing some little shiny bits in the star centers, like some beads and stuff, and nothing really worked. And I remembered I have some white contour paint, and I thought I'll just try and put one dot in the middle. And then after I put one dot in the middle, I thought I'll just try and put a few more. I ended up doing them all, and I forgot to switch the camera on. So I'm glad I stopped just in time so that I can record doing the last two. And also I've added one more star in here in the end. When I looked at everything, the composition wise, each page separately looked all right, but there was just, when you look at it as a whole, there was something missing up here. So I decided to add one small star there as well. So that was it. That was my friendship card. Before I forget, we need to draw the card for the next session. And let's just shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Really well. Okay. Let's cut. Okay. So the next Creative Mojo card is going to be words have meaning and names have power. What is the first letter of your name? Write the few art, craft, activities or subjects that start with that same letter. Pick one and start creating. Wow, I'm really happy. My name obviously starts with D, so it's either going to be drawing, design, decoupage. Oh my gosh, I have so many options. I hope you enjoyed this and thank you so much for watching. It would be great if you can join. Even if it's just for one card, the same one that I picked, that would be awesome. If you do a video using these cards as prompts, please let me know and I will add your video to the playlist that I created. Thank you so much for watching and I hope I see you soon in my next video. For the end, I just wanted to read this because I didn't end up putting it anyway. To my friend, I like you not only for what you are, but for what I am when I'm with you. I like you not only for what you have made of yourself, but what you are making of me. I like you because you have done more than any creed could have done to make me good, and more than any fate could have done to make me happy. You have done it without a word, without a touch, without a sign. You have done it by being yourself. Perhaps that is what it means to be a friend.